Hey, hey. First of all, before I start my analysis on Como versus AC Milan, I wanted to say thank you very much to Ricky Spanish and Nopa Sanada for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I appreciate you guys for tuning into the live stream. I was not expecting anyone to actually tune in and, react to me watching the game and give my analysis on the game as it plays on because mostly my profile picture says Chelsea, so I get most of my views doing Chelsea reactions and all that. But I always like to react to other games going on, not just in the Premier League, but in other leagues as well. Bundesliga, League On, La Liga, Syria, obviously, as I was reacting to that game. So now, thank you guys once again to Rick Expansion, Napas, Sanada for subscribing, and I hope if you guys are watching this video, you want to subscribe. I'm just starting out, but trust me, you guys are gonna be in for a ride. So thank you once again. Now, let's talk about Como versus AC Milan, right? Before I give my obviously Como lost the game. It was Como 1, AC Milan 3. A brace from Rabiot and Rabiot also given it causing that penalty to happen in which Nkunku took and scored towards the end of the first half. But I do have to give a shout out to Fabregas. Fabregas has done an amazing job with Como. He has taken his time to instill his philosophy, his identity, the style of play, the style of play that is beautiful to watch and is very effective. Let's not, yes, Como lost against Milan, but let's not act like this style of play, this system is not effective. It is effective. It's just about this game just came down to who was more clinical, and that's what it was. Capish. Finish. That's literally all what it was. It was between Como and AC Milan who was clinical in a style of play to get the 3 points. And at the end of this game, as we all know, AC Milan got the 3 points. Therefore, they were a lot more clinical. And that's something Como's going to have to work on. I mean, I was watching this game and I said, wow, this game is so beautiful. Beautiful to watch by Como. They are destroying AC Milan 3 to 4 passes, they are already into the opposition box, right? They are passing into the final third so quick. The way they're able to, the off-ball movement to receive the passes is such a beautiful thing to see. Like as a Chelsea fan, that's something I struggle with seeing my players. Seeing Chelsea players just be stationary, not knowing how to move without the ball to receive the ball. The off ball movement that Como had was such a beautiful thing to see. I will admit that this first half was very poor by AC Milan. AC Milan, this first half was very, very trash. They were rubbish. They were nonsense, bro. The defense was opening up like they were Bonnie Blue, opening the legs up for any man to just nut inside, bro. And that's what Como did, man. Around the 10th minute, they nutted inside AC Milan, and that's how they were one goal up from a corner kick, right? Corner kick taken, and the center back, Curve, or however you say his name, around the 10th minute, headed the ball in, and just 1-0 Como, right? And even after that game, AC Milan, I was expecting AC Milan to find a way to come out and try to play aggressively, but like we all know, Allegri is not a possession type of manager. He's a manager that is a defensive, counter-attacking, or anything that has to do with defensive has a specialist. That's who he is. He's a defensive specialist that focuses on, okay, the first thing I do is solidify my defense, and then I walk my way all the way to the offense, all the way to the attackers. And that's what Allegri has been known for. And he's won. He's won the league. Anyone who watches Serial knows Allegri has won the league being a defensive minded coach. Now, when it comes to the Champions League, that is a whole other topic and conversation to have when it comes to Allegri. But in this league, in this Italian league, Allegri is the man, defensive specialist. But in this case, the defensive specialist, he was not defensively specializing in this game. Como was opening up his defense. They were opening them up crazy, bro. If it wasn't for Mike Mannion, AC Milan goalie, He is a world class goalkeeper. He should be up there with Courtois and Beck and Allison, bro, and Yassine Bono and Jan Oblak. He deserves to be up there. He's a world class goalie, in my opinion, bro. Four saves in the first half. Anyone who watches this game would agree with me that Como should have been 2 goals up in the first half, at minimum 2 goals up, because they had two other chances, clear cut chances for them to make this game 3-0 or at least 3-1, right? But McManion was amazing. Four saves in the first half, bro. Como destroyed them with ball possession. 1.330 expected goals. 8 total shots. 5 shots on target. Two big chances. And McManion had four saves. I also want to say that for AC Milan, the only other outfield player that played good in that first half was Rabiot. Rabiot was doing the best he could to progress the ball. He was defensively doing a lot as well. I think Fofana and Modric was a little bit quiet in the first half. Maybe because like every time they try to have the ball, they struggle to progress the ball, because Como would just double team you. When you have the ball, when Como loses the ball, what they do is the nearest player will go out there and press the AC Milan player who has the ball, which will allow the other Como players to track back and be in the defensive positions, solidify the defense. They'll try back and solidify the defense, right? And I think that's a very nice way of playing defense. Reminds me of prime Barca days, right? How does Prime Barca play defense? By keeping the ball, by retaining the ball, and that's what Como do, right? I'm not saying that Como's style of play or Como is on the level of Prime Barca. Of course not. It's going to be very, very hard to replicate that because Como does not. Como is filled with youngsters and experienced veterans who are not that world class per se, but what Fabregas has done with this Como team has been such an amazing thing to see. And second half, and obviously Rabiot created the penalty to happen in which Nkuku took and he scored. That penalty could have been avoided, could have been blocked. Butez, Como goalie, actually had his hand on the ball, but unfortunately the shot was too powerful for him to push the ball out, which ended up 1-1 going into halftime. And a lot of people say that that penalty is not deserved, is undeserved, but he the thing is he made contact with Rabiot inside the box and the ref was right there. So you're making contact and Rabiot does not have and you're not touching the ball, more than likely it's going to be a penalty. So it was 1-1 going into halftime. And second half, I think Milan was a lot more stable. I think they were able to make some good runs, some good dangerous and threatening runs. But once again, Como had so many chances to score. This was a game of being clinical. Mike Munyon had 4 saves in the first half, and now he had about 3 saves in the second half. He had a total of almost 7 to 8 saves this whole game. Defensively, I think Milan was doing okay, but I will say Mike Minion was the one that was actually receiving the ball. Nico Paz had like 4 shots on target. Dacunia was shooting. Vovodar was shooting. Baturina was shooting. I mean, the fact that Como could not score a second goal was actually shocking to me because they had so many opportunities to score the goal. And then what did you know? Around the 55th minute, Rabiot, right? It was a counter attack. Jimenez had the ball, played the long ball to Rafa Leao. Leao doing his usual dribbling, waiting for Rabiot to overlap, gave the ball to Rabiot, and one touch shooting. There you go. It's a goal. 2-1 Milan. This is what you call being clinical. After the goal, Ricky Spanish in my chat was saying, "Hey, you know what? He thinks, you know what? I think Como can pull it up." And I was telling him no, and I was letting him know, yeah, Como can come back to make it 2-2 if they're clinical. But around the 80th minute, Rabiot said, "Nah, this game is done and over with. We are walking away with the 3 points," and he sealed the game. 40 yards out, shot the ball, 3-1 AC Milan. Is over. Is over. Is over. Pack it up, wrap it up, send that bitch home. We're going home. That's what happened. And I know Como's gonna be scratching their head, and Fabregas is gonna be scratching his jaw, scratching that little beard he has on his face. Like, if only we were clinical. But I think this possession, this style of play that Como does is very effective in my opinion. It's just that they went up against a world class goalkeeper that did a good job keeping AC Milan in the game and denying Como tons of goal scoring opportunities. So I think that's what it ultimately came down to. Um, right now, AC Milan is walked away with the 3 points. They are 3 points behind Inter Milan, who is in number one position, and Como is at the sixth position right now with 34 points. And I know that Como right now they are trying to get into the top four, top five for Champions League football, and I think they have a chance to get into it because Roma has been shaky. Juventus has found their form. Napoli has also been shaky, so Napoli and Roma could fall off the table, off the top three position, and Como can get in there if they are clinical with what they're doing. Como goes up against Lazio, so I think that should be an easy win for Como. But they have to find a way to be clinical, man. That's the whole point. Goal scoring is how you reward the stats and is how you reward your domination. Anyway, what do you guys think about this game? What do you think Como needs to work on? And do you think Milan got lucky, or you think they played bad, but they were just clinical in goal scoring? You guys tell me what you think. Please like and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow once again. Peace out, guys.